Hello, welcome to the channel, PonteauGarou. In this video, I'm covering my latest flight out of San Gabriel Valley Airport in El Monte, California, just outside of Los Angeles. A little backstory is that I'd actually gotten my pilot's license in my senior year of college. After graduating, though, life circumstances, work, and the recent pandemic basically put a damper on my ability to get back in the cockpit. Having moved to LA in the last year, I made a priority to get back in the saddle and to expand in advance on my hobbyist career in flying. I found a club that had open slots and soon started my rediscovery flight. Now, I won't lie, I was a bit rusty, not just from the time off, but also due to the fact that I was flying in a completely new area with all different types of airspaces and requirements that you had to be aware of as a pilot in command. It's a process that's taking some time, but I'm happy to say it's been getting better and better with each day, with the help of some self-study and also just some guided review from my instructor as well too. So today I decided to take it easy and just do some pattern work at my home airport. I recorded a radio communication audio so that you can get a feel for how communications goes between the pilots in the air, the control tower, as well as ground control. So with that background out of the way, let's get to the video.
Alrighty, hello, Money Ground, Moody 4070 miles is off to active at Echo Taxi.
After having completed my run-up prior to takeoff, I was waiting for clearance from the tower. There was traffic coming in for final that I had to wait for before it was my turn to take off.
Okay, we can go ahead and taxi to the runway. And before, let's just run through the script real quickly. So Airport Tower, so El Monte Tower, November 19760, holding short of runway 19er. Wanting to stay in the pattern. 19760, November 19760, there we go. Let's switch over.
146, sir.
El Monte Tower, November 19760, holding short on runway 19er. Want to stay in the pattern today, November 19760.
That's 19760, Money Tower, stand by landing traffic.
Tower 70, standing by for landing traffic. I see the traffic right there coming around. So, before I even go up there, strobe, boom, landing light, boom. Nav lights, not there.
Land 200 at 6.
0 at 6, got it. Full rich. Line up on the runway.
I'm sorry, 2 Mike Romeo, runway 19 clear for the option number 2. Following Cessna short, follow. Traffic running prior to arrival. Number 2, runway 19 clear for the option, 2 Mike Romeo. Turkey 31 Hotel, runway 19 cleared to land number 3, following Diamond Star, ahead to your left in the right cross and turning right downwind altitude 1,300, reporting sight. Looking for traffic, 19 number 3, 31 Hotel.
Now, you're probably wondering, why am I just sitting in front of the runway? I mean, why can't I just go and fly out to whatever destination I want to? If it's clear, right? No different than merging on the highway. Well, not really. At a controlled airport, every movement is monitored by ground and tower control, which control traffic on the taxiways and in the airspace around the airport respectively. You cannot do a thing without their express instructions, lest you get an earful from them. Now, there are such things as an uncontrolled airport where you have much more freedom, but with that comes more responsibility as a pilot in command, because the flow of traffic is more or less controlled by each pilot at the airport. That means you're communicating with other pilots when it comes to anything pertaining to traveling on taxiways, getting set up for takeoffs, stating your position and altitude in a pattern. I'll cover that in a later video. For now, just understand that when the control tower specifically says the phrase cleared for takeoff, you are cleared for takeoff and you have to get going before another plane takes your spot while coming in for final approach.
19 clear for takeoff.
Tower 70, 19er, right, closed traffic, clear for takeoff.
Turkey 31 Hotel, traffic follows a wing up 1 mile, right base, altitude indicates 1,200. Traffic inside 31 Hotel, he's on turning base now, right?
Alright, let's go.
Turkey 31 Hotel, affirmative. Thank you.
Alright, lights, camera, action.
Wind 190
Let's
at
go. Full throttle. Heels on the floor. Just down. Airspeed is alive. 60, 65, rotating. I'm gonna start my right turn at about 800. Alright. It came off really good. I just added a little bit. There we go, right there. Let's start.
America, long easy, November 522, Echo Zulu, 10 mile east, inbound for first stop, information Juliet. 522, Echo Zulu, Amani Tower, staying in position. 10 mile east, 2,500.
Clear on the right.
Long easy, 2 Echo Zulu, make left traffic runway 19er. Left traffic runway 19er, 2 Echo Zulu, thank you.
Alright, pitching for about 80. 82 really should be where it's at. Alright, let's see where I'm at. Alright, we look good right there. Turn the left, clear on the right. Let's go.
Commissar 2, Mike runway at full stop, turn left, Foxtrot.
There we go. Powering back.
Turning left on Foxtrot, contacting ground.
About 2,000. That should get through. It's fine. Alright, 1,300, 2,000 RPM.
Left base is approved. Left base.
Now, you can probably hear me talking to myself about specific numbers. What are those numbers and what do they mean? In the traffic pattern, we follow what is called rectangular pattern, in which you are following a rectangular path with the runway being coincident on one of the sides of the rectangle. This is to ensure that there is an organized flow of traffic. You have different phases of the pattern process that you have to follow: upwind, crosswind, downwind, base, and final, which all have their different speeds, power settings, altitudes, and direction. The reason I am saying these numbers is as a reminder for myself for 4 points. Number 1, maintain proper separation from other aircraft. If I go too fast, I risk crowding an airplane in front of me. And if I go too slow, I risk the same danger from the plane behind me. The second point is maintaining proper altitude. The traffic pattern altitude, or TPA, is 1,000 feet above the elevation of the airport. The elevation of the airport is 300 feet above sea level. Second point, maintaining proper altitude. Traffic pattern altitude, or TPA, is 1,000 feet above the elevation of the airport. The elevation of the airport is 300 feet mean sea level. Going above that 1,000 foot mark would break the airspace of the airport and risk collisions with overflying aircraft. Number 3, maintaining heading. The runway I'm using is 19, or in simple terms, the runway that is coincident with the magnetic compass reading of 109 degrees south. Rectangular path requires that you make 90-degree turns, so it's important to know where you are heading at each portion of the pattern. Generally, a good rule of thumb is just to add 90 degrees. So if we are taking off on runway 19 in the direction of 190 degrees south, in this case turning right, you should be heading on 280 degrees on a western direction for crosswind. Another turn will lead you to 10 degrees to the north for downwind. The next turn leads 100 degrees to the east for base. And finally, back to 190 degrees to the south for final approach. So I'm watching my gauges for speed, altitude, direction. The fourth reminder is for power settings. Throttle will allow me to speed up or slow down in a pattern, and will have an effect on my altitude as well too. You don't want to play around with power settings. You just want to find a setting that will work for whatever it is you're trying to do and stick to it. So a basic rundown on how the pattern will go like this. Upwind and departure. Power setting will be at full throttle. Airspeed, I rotate or pull the yoke back at 60 miles per hour and aim for 82 miles per hour during the ascent, using elevator trim to relieve back pressure on the yoke so I'm not too stiff pulling back on the yoke. Direction will be on a 190 degrees south direction, and I'll be ascending to 500 feet above ground level, AGL, or 800 feet mean sea level, MSL. Number 2, crosswind. After reaching 500 feet AGL, or 800 feet MSL, I start a 9-degree turn to a direction of 280 degrees. Power is still going to be at full throttle since we're not just at TPA just yet. Airspeed will still be at 82, as that will give us our best rate of climb that will get us to that traffic pattern altitude as quick as possible. And we'll continue to ascend to 1,000 feet AGL / 1,300 feet MSL and make another right turn. 3, downwind. By this point, we should be at the aforementioned TPA. Since we don't need to ascend anymore, it's best to power down to 1900 RPMs with an airspeed of about 80 miles per hour, direction at 10 degrees. By the time I am abeam of the runway, I'm prepping for slowing down and descending. I put down 10 degrees of flaps to slow down and maintain lift at slower speed, and pull my power to 1500 RPM to start losing altitude. A common terminology you may hear is pitch for airspeed, power for altitude, meaning that I control my airspeed with the amount of back pressure I have on a yoke. So if I nose down, I'm going to speed up. If I nose up, I'm going to lose airspeed. Power for altitude. By increasing throttle, I can basically gain altitude or lose altitude. So pulling back on the throttle, I'll start sinking. Putting more throttle in, I'll start gaining altitude. 4. Base. My goal by this point is to maintain a power setting 1500 RPMs with an airspeed of 75 miles per hour on a 110 degree heading and ascending down to 700 feet AGL, 1000 feet MSL during my right hand turn from downwind to base leg. I'm also adding more flaps at 20 degrees to make sure I can get slower and still maintain lift at those slower speeds. 5. Final. This is it. The final approach to the runway. Hopefully I've slowed down to 70 miles per hour, not too slow to avoid stalling. At 500 feet AGL, 800 feet MSL, on a runway heading of 190 degrees. Power setting is more or less whatever it takes to maintain a proper glide slope, but the minute I know I can make it, I cut the power to idle to ease down to the ground level. Flaps at this point should be 30 degrees. So what happened? Wasn't I going to make the runway? I was pretty much there, wasn't I? Not really. I was actually really high for landing here. Trying to make the runway at this point is not advisable. Yeah, I could basically keep on sinking and more or less skirt to the end of the runway, but I may run out of asphalt before I'm actually slowing down. This is a good way to endanger not only yourself, but also destroy an airplane. It's just best to add that power if you don't think you're going to make it to full throttle, pitch for best rate of climb, 82 miles per hour, and bring the flaps up as soon as I see a positive rate of climb. Now my mistake here was not losing the altitude required during the downwind and base leg portions, which gave me a really high final approach.
Base leg turn, alright. Look where I'm at, very far out right now.
I'm on the ground to Echo Zulu, clear one-way 19er, request taxi to Hangar Echo. 2 Echo Zulu still on tower, forget to contact ground 125.9.
Alright, first 3 flaps.
Monty Tower, student pilot Cessna 7340 X-ray, holding short of runway 19er for right close traffic. This is 3560 on tower, right close traffic, runway 19, clear for takeoff.
Very long final, very long final. But we'll make it work. 1700.
The 4 Sierra expedited departure traffic approaching 1 mile final, runway 19, clear for takeoff. 19 clear for takeoff, 4 Sierra X-ray.
75.
01, departure for arrival.
Going down to 1400. We're still very high right now. Very high.
Cherokee 31 Hotel, runway 19 clear for the option number 2, following Cessna half mile final. 19 clear for the option, following Cessna 31 Hotel.
Watching that airspeed, just watching that airspeed. $70. Letting the nose down just to make sure we got that speed. Just a little bit of speed, but not too much. I got white and red.
This is 760 number 3, follow Cherokee in the ride down to be the tower, runway 19 clear for the option.
With this approach, something that helped me was having more time with an extended downwind. It helped slow down the action so I could get my required power, altitude, and airspeed. I do have to admit, this is not something I want to rely on too much, as being able to control the airplane and the traffic pattern without extending any portion beyond what is necessary is paramount to proper procedures with fellow pilots, especially in uncontrolled airports. I also turn off from the runway instead of doing a touch and go. If I don't think I'll have enough runway to get in the air and avoid a hypothetical 50-foot obstacle at the end of a runway, I'd rather just turn off and head back to the start of a runway. So by doing this, the tower hands me back to ground control, who will give me instructions on how to proceed back to the start of a runway. As you have seen so far, there's quite a bit of moving parts in the traffic pattern, between listening to radio comms, watching out for other traffic, planning your next moves, and controlling the aircraft. It can be overwhelming at times, but this is why we practice and review, to iron out those mistakes and become better with time.
I'm on to tower 19760. I might have missed your last if you were talking to me.
1960 affirmative, contact ground.
Tower 70, we'll contact ground. On the ground, November 19760. Clear of runway 19er. Want to head back to do another takeoff.
This is 19760, I'm on a ground on a 19er, taxi Alpha.
Ground 760, taxi to 19er by Alpha. Definitely gotta watch out to make sure that I don't clip the little thing next time. That scared the bejesus out of me. Like, what happened? But yeah, that was a way better one. Way better landing. See if I can do two more. Slow it down just a little bit. I'm going like 16 miles an hour. Still way better with the communications today, though. That is true. Let me turn off the strobe landing. Something I forgot to do was the car beat. Very bad.
On the ground, 165 Foxtrot, Thrill Squadron, taxi for takeoff, run-up is complete, and we have Juliet. 165 Foxtrot, I'm on the ground, can you enter north of Echo? North of Echo, yes. This is 165 Foxtrot, I'm on the ground, north of Echo.
Base for running 19er.
The next two landings I proceed to perform another go around, and on my final landing I extended my downwind extremely far due to some traffic that was taking off of the active runway.
Real far out.
Hawaii Tower 7081 is ready in sequence. We'll be requesting a right downwind departure.
Copy down.
6101, Hawaii Tower, roger, stand by. Wind 2107.
Man, we are like 2 miles out. My God. Gonna peter along at about 80. 85.
Number 2 Delta Echo behind the Cessna northbound Alpha, turn left node, contact ground.
Delta, contact ground to Delta Echo, good day.
Cessna 4 Sierra X-ray, right, close traffic approved, runway 19, clear for takeoff. 19 clear for takeoff, 4 Sierra X-ray.
I'm like only about at like 1,000, 1,100 actually. So this is kind of good. As we get closer, I'm just gonna pull that power out.
Cessna 081, wind 2106, traffic on the rolled A in the right close traffic pattern. Right down departure approved, runway 19, clear for takeoff.
081, right down and approved, and we'll watch the traffic ahead, thank you.
Cessna 760, left departure departing now.
Tower 70, I see the traffic departing.
Cessna 4 Sierra Cessna 4 Sierra X-ray, turn crosswind. Turn crosswind, 4 Sierra X-ray.
Morning Tower, Cessna 58 Foxtrot, holding short on the 19, request right close traffic.
Cessna 1658 Foxtrot, my tower, stand by.
Standing by, 5 Foxtrot.
Wind 2204.
In 220 at 4, got it. Come a little bit from the right.
Cessna 4 Sierra X-ray, runway 19, clear for the option. 19, clear for the option, 4 Sierra X-ray. Cessna 60, turn left Delta, contact ground. Cessna 4 Sierra X-ray, extend downwind for departures. Extending downwind, 4 Sierra X-ray.
Just gonna turn the left.
So 58 Foxtrot, right close traffic approved, runway 19, clear for takeoff.
Onto Echo.
Runway 19, clear for takeoff, 58 Foxtrot.
4 Sierra X-ray, base turn approved. Starting base, 4 Sierra X-ray. This is 760, contact ground.
Tower 70, we'll contact ground. Okay, clear of the active right now. Let's clean this up. Fuel selector is on both. Elevator is set for takeoff. Car beat going back in, lights on as required, so just a beacon. Mixture full in, or actually mixture lean, excuse me. Flaps are going up. Transfer on altitude. Rate frequency set. I think I'm done for today. Ground 720, want to head back to row 22, clear of runway 19er.
760, I'm on the ground, taxi to parking, we out for today.
Ground 720, taxi by Alpha to parking, thank you.
And that's a wrap. And in the video, it's meant to review and shape up my skills. I hope you guys found it informative and entertaining. If you like content like this, go ahead and do me a favor, hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. More coming in the future, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.